Thank you. Wow, you guys really touched me. Thank you very much. I just wanted to thank you for coming and thank Roger for an unbelievable performance. This is a big festival for him. He's got another movie, so go see that later on this week. Because he's that guy. If you're making a movie, you want Roger in your movie. Thank you. He just saw it.
Congratulations, Reginald, on extraordinary achievement, which is about an extraordinary achievement, to document our history in the way that you have done it is not only remarkable, but it's magical. And you have brought, once again, the magic to the screen. And I am extraordinarily privileged to be a part of that. It's an ongoing movement that we've been engaged in this country since this thing called the cinema was invented. And we have used this screen to examine our lives in this country and around the world, to share it with the world at large, and to hopefully work in the same tradition as Justice Marshall, who used his obvious brilliance to not only elevate his own self so that he could drink whatever water that he wanted to drink, but so that we could all drink any water that we wanted to drink, even in Martha's Vineyard. So I thank you. It's lovely once again to be in collaboration with you. We did a thing called Cosmic Slop, which you should reinvestigate. It was on HBO, which of course stands for Help a Brother Out. I'll be back on Thursday with another dynamic artist by the name of Shelton Jackson Lee. They call him Spike. Our 10th collaboration, it's called Rodney King. It's showing Thursday at 7. Spike and I will be here to talk about it.
My man. Second, but far from the last. We have a lot of work to do. Thank God we're still young men. You know what? I know y'all want to go home, but if you guys have a few questions, we'll just answer a few and then, yes, sir. There's mics on either side if you, or there's a person roaming with the mic.
Yes. So just a quick question. You mentioned from the very beginning that you had a vision for how this film speaks to the contemporary challenges that we're facing today. Brilliant move using Trayvon Martin's parents at the very end. I mean, it was a stunning thing to see. I'd love to hear more from your own perspective about that decision, using his legal counsel as well. Can you please speak to kind of their involvement and your reflection on today's struggle?
Thank you for the question. You know, when we were shooting the film and I thought about that last scene and I said, well, okay, he's going to meet his next clients and who should play that role? Should that be a local actor, which would be fine? I said, no, it's a big opportunity. I could call a major celebrity and call in a favor and get a really big name and do something shiny. But I thought, that's shiny, but it's not deep. I said, how do we really connect the past to today? And, you know, the fact is, what I loved about this case was to use the phrase they always use after they kill someone. They go, well, he's no angel. Joseph Spell was no angel, but he didn't do it. So I thought if we connect that to today, and the way I knew to reach Trayvon's parents was through Benjamin Crump, who's an extraordinary attorney. And he said, well, okay, that's great. I think that's a wonderful idea. I worship Thurgood Marshall, of course, looking at his body of work. He says, but I want to believe Luby, Z. Alexander Luby. And if those here who are serious Marshall scholars know that Z. Alexander Luby was sort of the Thurgood Marshall of the South. And Thurgood Marshall said, if I ever get in legal trouble, I want Luby to represent me. And Luby once saved his life on a bad dirt road in the worst part of the South. So I said, yes, let's also represent Luby for those that know. And if you don't know, now you know. Yes, young man.
Did Sam ever work for the NCAAP or NAACP?
Yes. He did not, but he did commit the rest of his career to doing civil rights work. And he was sort of a precursor of Greenberg and many other people of different ethnic backgrounds who worked for the NAACP. So again, that's the other thing that I thought was important about this story. It was the beginning of a movement, the beginning of an army. And to say that all of us, however unlikely we think we are, can step in and play a part. If we link arms and become allies. And Lord knows right here, right now, in this world, we need allies.
Excuse me. So I was looking up the film, and it said something about how the writers of the film were like lawyers. Can you explain a little bit more about the writing process for the film?
Yes, that's a very good question. Very good, young man. Michael Koskoff is an attorney in Connecticut, and he's a very, very successful. And his kids work in Hollywood. His son is a screenwriter, others as a producer. So he has sort of a family involved in show business. So one day he decided, I'm going to write a script. And he knew about the Thurgood Marshall case, which happened in Connecticut where he lived. So he researched it. He wrote the script. He sent it to his son, who then started collaborating with him on the script. Then when he got it to a certain place, he sent it to Sam Friedman's daughter to get permission from her, like, is this okay, this representation of your dad? She is a very successful psychotherapist in New York. She read the script and says, oh, I love it. I'm going to send it to my college roommate. She's a Hollywood producer. So she calls Paula Wagner and says, someone wrote a script about my dad. I want you to read it. Let me tell you, in the world of phone calls you want to get, someone wrote a script about my dad. I want you to read it. It's not the phone call you want to get. That's almost guaranteed to be a terrible script. She got the script, read it, and said, oh my God, this is really good. And she called several friends of hers, including another friend she went to college with named Stephen Bochco, who produces a lot of TV shows, right? And Bochco said, you should call Reggie. And she kept running into different people who said, oh, you should call Reggie. And she said, well, I know Reggie. We're on the UCLA film school board together. So she says, I've got this script about Thurgood Marshall. And I said, yes. And then I said, I should read it. But I had already said yes in my heart. I mean, I almost named my son Thurgood, but I thought that's a little too much pressure. That's a little much. So I read it and I loved it, and then we got to work. So that's a long answer, but that is the story of how it happened.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
If I'm not mistaken, this is your first feature film that was like a historical piece?
As a
that you-
director, yes.
As a director.
Yes.
Did you find this to be more challenging than your other bodies of work? Did you feel more pressure to like, be like historically accurate?
Not really. I mean, the fact is, every movie, no matter what the genre, no matter what the style, is a tightrope. And there's you can fail no matter what. So, I mean, there's always like, don't make a bad movie. Don't waste people's money. Don't waste people's time. And so in the case like Thurgood Marshall, obviously you want to tell the story right. You want to engage young men like the two young men who just came up and, have them care about it. So, but you can't let yourself be crushed by that pressure. You ultimately have to say, I'm making a movie that people are they work all week, and then you say, okay, honey, which movie we're going to go to? And you have all these, and like you say, well, which movie do we want to see? Not a movie you're obligated to see. Oh, go see this. This is like medicine. I want to make a movie that you would have a good time. Did you guys have a good time watching the movie? Well, that's everything to me, because that's the goal. And I know if you see this, you will learn and you will be transformed and you will be inspired. But that starts with entertainment, and then it goes from there. So that's the greatest amount of pressure. Mm-hmm. All right.
Thank you.